Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ethan. So I haven't uploaded for a minute now. This was the only place that I could record, and the space in my car is really weird. So I have to have this camera kind of set up down on the passenger seat area to where you guys can actually see me in the video. But today, guys, I wanted to talk about my experience working at a jail for 16 months. So I started working at the Butte Detention Center May 15th of 2024. I was kind of in need of a job. I was kind of job hunting, and then my dad knew about this lady that was a sergeant up there, and she was just getting ready to retire. And she told me that they were hiring and to apply. So I did, and I started working up there about May. So I applied May 10th, and then I actually started working May 15th of 2023 of last year. And then I just recently resigned on August 13th. So that had me about there for about 16 months. It would have been 2 more days if I was working there that I would have been employed for 16 months at the jail working up there. But it was a really fun experience. I actually had a really good time. I actually learned a lot of things up there, which I'm grateful for, because for me, I was only 20 when I first started working up there. So I was technically like a kid working at the jail, and it was a really good gig. For me, I was grateful because I got paid pretty well for my age. But the reason why I resigned is kind of what I'm going to explain in the video. I just really wasn't happy up there, man. For me, what happens in our local jails is that a lot of the cops become from the jail. So guys that were jailers eventually become cops. And that's kind of how our town plays out here in Butte. So for me, I wanted to be a police officer. It was an aspiration of mine. One of my uncles, Bogey, was a police officer. He's a really great guy. He re-enlisted back into the Army, and he had a buddy that would go and work out at his gym because he used to own a CrossFit gym. He told Bogey to tell me to apply to the jail if that's what I want to do, if that's what I want to be as a cop. So he told me to go up there and apply. And I was like, all right, man, let's do it. So we ended up going up there and applying. And the thing was that I applied twice for police, and I was really excited about it. But then they told me that I was too young. You know, I'm 21 years old now. I'm going to be 22 in October. Time flies by when you're having fun. But they said that I was too young, and I was like, all right, man, you know, whatever, you know, I'll keep pushing, I'll keep working up here. And then things got really wild up there at the jail. So they have us work 18-hour shifts. They'd have us work in there all the time, and we were always short-staffed. Like, since I started, from the time I ended, we were always having officers quit, and it was all for different reasons. It was like, oh, they had something going on, they didn't like the pay, they didn't think the pay was enough. They had career advancements. Some of them just didn't like the job. And toxic people, that was a thing that I really dealt with a lot up there. Really toxic work environment, man. I mean, I think what happens is a lot of the negativity gets to the officers. I think that that's the thing that happens, is a lot of these officers, man, they just take everything personal, man. They take the inmates, they take all this stuff really personal. And it was kind of taking a toll on me. It was kind of taking a toll on my mental health a lot. And then for a while there, I didn't mind working the long shifts, and I didn't mind everything. I was working actually all the time, you know, because I was like, hey man, I'm trying to get my money, you know, I'm trying to stack up my cash. But then it got to a point where it was like, man, this pay is not worth it. You know, like the crap that I dealt with, I was really starting to lose enthusiasm for my job. I was really starting to feel burned out. And then my advisors, man, like, you know, I got a lot of love and respect for my administrators, but man, like, I just felt like so underappreciated up there, man, because I worked up there for over a year, and I worked my butt off, man. I got after it, man. I did a lot of things right. Yeah, I got in trouble for doing some things wrong, but I never repeated the mistake. I learned a lot about professionalism. It was a really good gig for me, a really good way to see how things run, and it's a really good work set, you know. And working at a jail, you can't make any major mistakes, you know, because if that happens, someone else is going to get hurt. You could get hurt. Other officers can get hurt. So you need to be very vigilant of how you do things and how you function right. But for me, I'm also 21. I have goals of like obviously pursuing this channel. I have goals of pursuing business. I have some goals that I want to pursue in other ventures. And I just knew that I felt like I was kind of wasting my potential. You know, even like when I resigned, and even some of the inmates, it was a small jail, you know, so like inmates, you know, heard that I was resigning, and they were like, hey man, like, why are you out of here? And I told them, I said, hey, you know, this is what's going on for me, and I plan on making some other moves. And, you know, there was an old inmate I even remembered. He was just like, yeah, man, like, you're too good for this place, man. Like, you know, you're too good of a kid to be here. And I was like, yeah, man, I appreciate that a lot, you know. And I dealt with a lot of BS up there, man. Dealt with all types of stuff. Yeah, you know, the pay was decent, but it wasn't worth it, man. Like, you know, a lot of those guys, some guys I know in there are putting in careers, which I give a lot of hats off to them, man, because putting a career in corrections is not easy, man. And I give a lot of hats off to all the correctional officers out there. So shout out to these guys. But for me, I was like, hey, business, all these other things I want to pursue in my life is my goal. So I'm going to put in the work to get there, and I'm going to chase my dreams in these other endeavors. So I really give a lot of props to those guys, but a lot of these guys are putting in careers. So it's like, all right, they knew that this is what they wanted to do. For me, it was like, nah, this isn't what I want to do. What I want to do is do other things. So for me, it was a good idea to get out of there before it got worse. And I even told my captain when I resigned, I said, hey, I'm doing you guys a favor and myself a favor if I resign. And I think that that was a really smart move for me, because I said, you know, like, I'll be doing what I actually want to do. You know, if I really want to be here, I should really know I want to be here, rather than just being here to be here or whatever. I don't think that that's what those guys would want anyways. They want people that want to be there, that want to make a difference and want to put in careers and all that stuff. And I was like, you know what, man, this isn't for me. So I was like, you know what, guys, I'm out. So it's been about a week and feeling great. You know, I'm about to lock in on my business, on my channel. I'm about to lock in on other endeavors in my life. I want to get back into boxing and get back into the ring, so that would be really good. The last thing is, you guys are probably going to be like, what the heck did you see there? I've seen a lot of things, man. I remember the first week I started, I walked into there was an inmate that would shit in the cell. Like, this is no fucking joke. Would just shit in the cell. Like, this shit is disgusting. This inmate got sent out to Warm Springs, which is a mental health facility out here in Montana that, you know, treats mental health patients. And she was just, man, cuckoo, man. Just obviously not all there in the head, especially to be like just in there crapping in her cell. Like, oh, that's just disgusting. There was another inmate before I left that did the same thing. The thing that a lot of people need to know is that a lot of inmates have mental health issues. A lot of these inmates have drug issues, alcohol issues, they've have abuse issues, they have all these type of issues, homeless, all these things, you know, and a lot of them don't take these things into factor, you know. So inmates, a lot of them are not like normal people, you know, like a lot of these guys are not all there in the head. They have issues. So I always had to be very conscientious about that. I always had to know that, hey, these inmates are not, you know, all there in the head. A lot of them aren't. And a lot of them have their brains all fried from doing all these drugs and all this other wild stuff. And oh yeah, it's just a lot. I've seen a lot of fights up there. Obviously, I've seen a lot of inmates, you know, backstab each other. I've seen like all types of stuff, manipulate each other, all types of stuff, man. Like, it was a wild experience up there. I even had an inmate try to swing at me one time, all literally over something that we had no control over, man. So it just felt like it was ridiculous. I got to go meet some cool people throughout this venture. It was a really cool part of my life. I met a lot of awesome people, a part of the police department, so that was really cool. It was really cool to feel a part of something. I was really grateful for that. Yeah, and I worked hard, man. I got after it, man. Like, I showed up a lot. There were some days, you know, where I slipped or whatever, and, you know, I made some mistakes, but, you know, that's inevitable in anything. You know, you're going to make mistakes in anything you do. You know, that's bound to happen. But it was a really good experience for me, and moving forward, I'm going to take it with, like, what it was. That I learned a lot of lessons from it. I met some cool people. I learned a lot about hard work and discipline and being professional and all these things that'll help me excel in my life, in my career advancements even more. So I'm really grateful. It was a fun experience. It really sucked, you know, like when There was barely no staff all the time, so I could never really take time off. So I felt like I was really getting burned out up there because I was working so much and I was barely taking time off. So like I definitely felt like I was getting burned out up there. Even like a week now, like my body still feels tired, you know, because I've been working up there for like a year and 4 months straight. I went to the academy over in May, right as soon as I hit my 1 year mark at the jail working up there. And yeah, you know, I learned a lot of things. I had a great experience. But yeah, I've seen a lot of wild things. Believe it or not, in a lot of those type of places, the staff is worse than the inmates. And a lot of people don't know that. Sometimes a lot of the staff is worse than the inmates, and I couldn't agree any much more. I almost had more issues with staff than I did with inmates. So that's kind of one thing that just to take into consideration. It was a really fun experience for me. I was grateful for the experience, but now it's time for me to move on and focus on other ventures in my life. But it was a fun experience. I take it as what it was, and I'm going to keep moving on. Just climbing up the ranks in my life, keep getting better, keep posting these videos, focus on my business, and yeah, we're going to keep pushing for greatness. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys drop a sub, and I will be seeing you guys in the next video here pretty soon.